Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Well, before we took that break, Ajibola and I gave a snippet into what today's discussions will be about. And we did say that we would be taking a look at mental health in men. And of course, this will be combined with wellness in men as well. Oftentimes, we all treat issues around mental health with levity and with some kind of concentration on the woman. But today we will be staying with the men, and like I told Ajibola, there's also a need for the men to begin to speak up and begin to talk about issues that affect men. Oftentimes we have women, talking about issues surrounding what they go through and all of that, but we need to start having men also champion their causes. On the program this morning, we'll be looking at mental health and wellness in men. And two gentlemen I will be conversing with on the program today. Join us this morning as we welcome into the studio a mental health advocate, Femi Otegbala. Thank you for being on the program this morning. And we also have Oluwasegun Babatunde. He's also a mental health advocate. Thank you for being on the program this morning. Femi, let me begin with you. When we say mental health, oftentimes, a lot of people also think we're talking about issues surrounding incapacitation. Some people will say, when you say mental health, they say, oh, please don't associate me with that, because in quotes, they think you're talking about things like madness or craziness or instability. But when we say mental health, if you'd like to break it down, what exactly are we talking about?
We're simply referring to the state of the mind of the man. And it cuts across a lot of things. Your happiness, your peace, anxiety. There's a lot to it.
Right.
But it's not necessarily madness. It doesn't go that far at all. And like you mentioned before, it's taken for granted.
It's taken for granted a lot of times, especially when it comes to the men or when maybe the boy child. So we're going to start actually really from raising boys who later become men. And like I said earlier, it's pretty difficult to actually change a formed man. But you can actually start from a child, a boy child. So Oluwasegun, like he said, it is actually the state of mind of people generally. But for the purpose of this conversation today, we're sticking with the men. So when we say state of mind, again, we know that we can break that down into many parts, different parts. What are the consciousness as humans that we need to start taking cognizance of so that we are able to know the state of mind of people generally, particularly the men, from time to time? I'm asking this question because we sometimes mask a lot of things, especially the men. You hear things like, oh, you shouldn't cry. You hear things like, oh, it's not allowed. You mustn't show your vulnerability.
Of course.
But we need to start understanding the facts that we're human and sometimes we need to crack.
Of course.
And so when men crack, it's more or less like a taboo. Yes. Is that the mindset or is it an African thing?
Actually, I will look at it this way, that it's African things.
Okay.
And we need to understand from God himself that created heaven on earth. And he took a day to rest. He rested. What happened? He has overstressed himself. Okay. He has passed through some challenges. But he took a day out of the whole day to calm down.
Okay.
Most of the time, men in Africa, we overstress ourselves. And the statistics shows that most of the time, stress kills man in Africa. Overthinking, overcalculations, bills here and there, economic challenges. And most of the time, when all these things showed up, we don't really observe anyone because it comes through angers, through kind of many things. And most of the time, we don't really check on men about their emotional status.
Okay.
All those things brings out a mental challenges to men. But these days, as you said earlier, that men most of the time hold it to themselves.
Right.
They man up, they don't speak up.
They don't speak up. Yes, man up. And then, but easily, it's more or less like you said, putting a lot of pressure on men. But would you say that is this something that can, because now awareness is key.
Yes.
And then part of what we're doing right now is also awareness. And so let's go back to how boys are raised to becoming men. Parents, do we really understand from the onset, from the cradle, that we also need to treat the boy child or raise the boy child with some kind of love, attention, and also allow the boy child to know that it's okay to crack, rather than putting the pressure on the boy child from, you know, the cradle that, you know what, a boy falls and you're saying don't cry. But he fell.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And then you're telling, no, you are not allowed to cry. People can't see you shed tears. Mm-hmm. And so when that boy grows, he's beginning to mask his emotions. So when things happen, he's going to think that, I mean, it's a taboo for me to crack. It's a taboo for me to cry. So parents, are we being deliberate in raising our boy children, or are we doing a great deal of harm?
I think parents themselves need to be educated. I believe that, the phrase man up is one of the worst phrases ever.
Okay, right.
Worst phrases ever. And for us, it's cultural. It's come from when we're young and we've lived with it. And some of us as parents are transmitting the same to our children. But see, the child, like the example you gave, the child that fell got hurt, is in pain. And then you say man up. Does man up cancel the pain? No. There's a place for a man. I understand what they mean sometimes when you have to be a man. But we take it beyond its borders. It does not mean that you do not feel the pain, you do not care for yourself, which is one of our major issues.
Okay.
Now, because it will always show. Now, linking it back to mental health, the man that you told, oh, you cannot show pain, you cannot show sadness, you cannot show grief, it's going to show one way or the other in his health. And that's a major problem we have in this country right now. It has to show one way or the other. Allow this person to express himself. More importantly, find help when there's a need for it. And hopefully things will get better.
All right. When you talk about mental health, excuse me, I understand that, it also... Can I take a break? Please, let's take a break.